Awesome. Okay, so I think the first slides are
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah, we'll have to kind of bounce around a little bit. All right, so first of all, now let's, oh my gosh, change. All right. 2004, it was not the exact beginning of NARG. And the initial discussions of what NARG could be began in 2003. And the key participants in the, we'll call prototype of NARG, proto-NARG, Andrew Bland, Bill Sullivan, Andrew's brother Stephen Bland, Jerry Rodden, Tim Fisher, and Andrew Burkholz. That was around August of 2003. In November, at the Portland Regional, I met Bill Sullivan, and I started going on field trips with them and was in on the early discussions of what a club could be, what the purpose of it would be. And it wasn't about going out and collecting the fossils as much as it was about what do you do when you find them and what's the right way to be collecting them. And if we find something that has scientific value, what do we do about it? I would like to ask Tim to talk about it the early years before NARG started. So would you share what you envisioned in the early conversations with Andrew and the guys and what you remember from them talking about the formation of NARG? Because you were there before me.
I don't remember a whole hell of a lot about NARG, but it was just in the beginning, I met these guys on Fossil Forum online. I think that was around 2002. And then we didn't actually go anywhere. I didn't actually go anywhere with them until 2003 or late 2003, maybe August or something like that. And so it was just some campfire talk, really. Mostly Bill and Andrew were really interested in it. And most of us were like, yeah, let's just kind of keep it crab hunting with, the group, I guess. And so I think Andrew and Bill Sullivan basically talked everybody around to it, and it was definitely a good idea. So some of us liked campfires, whiskey, and busting crab nodules. That's
so that's kind of where it started. Campfires and crab nodules. And some people had whiskey. So Tim's name should be there. When I had a conversation with Andrew, and Andrew is sort of the instigator of the whole thing, along with Bill, as Tim was saying, and he couldn't even remember who was at the first meeting. I just talked to him on the way up to this meeting because he was going to be here, and he couldn't make it. And so I apologize for not having Tim's name up there, but there were only 8 people. These are the people who were at the very first meeting in 2004 at June in the Rice Museum. Andrew, Stephen, Jerry, Bill, Jim, Andy, Tim, and myself. And then shortly after that, we started to gain more members. It took about 2 or 3 years to have more than just half a dozen to a dozen people at the meeting. We went for our nonprofit status. I think it was Mike Santino and Bill Sullivan who did that. And I think it was right before 2007. It might have been 2006. I couldn't find the documents. I don't know if Tammy has that information in the back of her database or anything, but it started off with Bill Sullivan as the president. So the first official positions were that, and then Andrew Bland was basically the treasurer, the secretary, the newsletter, the website, the meetings, field trips, and organized everything that had to do with the Fossil Fest. And the first one of those was 2006. And then Mike and I were the other board members. Were you a board member early on, Tim? Okay. Shortly after that, we added Peg Johnson, and she became treasurer, and Robert Rose, and he became a board member, and Dan O'Loughlin, and Larry Purchase, and I think that was our first official full board. Purpose for doing it, it was agreed to establish partners in paleontology, and it was because everybody had different things to bring to the table. There were people who wanted to specialize in preparing crabs, and other people wanted to collect stuff. The one thing we agreed not to do was to sell fossils, but everything else, what can we come up with? And when we went to put together our nonprofit status, we had to have an official mission statement. So our mission statement was to encourage responsible stewardship of Earth's paleontological resources, promote scientific research, promote communication about paleontology, and public education, which includes kids and adults alike. And so it's been that the whole time, and we haven't changed it. We have had some significant discoveries as defined mostly by the back of the most recent t-shirt. If you want to look at that, I saw a couple of them around the room. A couple of noteworthy ones, and I know others are going to talk about that. Wally the whale was one of the early projects. It had been, I think you were one of the first people to find it down at Coos Bay, and it took a few. Okay. So multiple people came across it, and it was the first one we had to do a all-out permit. And we got a bulldozer in, and it was a 3-day project. And there's a picture coming up with a bunch of people for that. I'll show it. They're not entirely in order. But that was a serious excavation. And it went to Bill's garage. Andy Burkholz probably put the most time on it, but anybody who'd been to a crab camp in the first 3 years of that in the garage spent some time on the whale. I think I put 1 hour on it. I think Andy put 300 hours on it. And the skeleton, or the skull, now is got a U of O number on it. It's at the Charleston location down there on display. And nobody's done any research to find out if it's a new species or not, but it's a Miocene whale. Next one. Our most famous discovery, the crocodile. This one was, I believe Andrew Bland was the one who found it. And this one was named after NARG, that's Nargorum. Zoniate had something to do with tooth. Nargorum is the tooth of Narg. So it was originally found in this one. Yeah, there's a whole article on it in Oregon Geology, and it was one of the key characters of the video that we ended up being in the Oregon Field Guide. I won't go into a whole lot of detail. I wasn't on this trip. I know Peg was there, Andy or Andrew was there, Stephen. There's quite a few people, but it was 2007. This one was one of the more interesting ones. I won't spend much time on it, but the egg capsule at Kesey. We had crab camp, which would be a sort of summer camp for a weekend at Bill's place. He lived on the Nehalem, and we hit all sorts of places for crab. And that's, yeah, Steve Hedrick, who's lives in Virginia. He found that one at Kesey at Miss Bluff, and it's significant. So next one. And then of course Bernie, which you guys, if you've been here, you've been hearing over the years, Greg, and the work that he's done. It's currently in Alaska being researched, and it's like a marine iguana. And it turns out there are 7 of them in a big block, or parts of 7 of them, and pretty significant. So this required, I don't know if it's officially a permit, but we had to have permission from the county to block off part of the road to be able to park there. And we jacketed this big thing and hauled it out. So those are the bigger projects that we worked on. And of course, there's been lots and lots and lots of small ones. So the rest of them are just kind of pictures of trips that I won't even spend that much time on. Of course, we've collected the Oregon coast a lot. That's from 2005. Next one. The Looking Glass Formation. Are you here? I don't see him. Bob Manley. That's him. So Bob found, well, it's not a lobster. It's a crab that was named after him in this location. That was my favorite trip. I won't get into the details, but that's coming back out of Fossil Creek, which was the hardest field trip ever. But that's part of the early crew from a crab camp. Next one. I think you guys might recognize that guy. We had our first Fossil Fest was 2006. So we've had, well, we didn't have two of them. So 6 to 24 would be 8 to 16. So we have 16 Fossil Fests that we've had. And that's from, I think, the first one. Does that look like 2006, Mackenzie?
I think it does.
It
Or
is.
wait, it would be no, that would have to no, yeah, that would have been 2006. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I think
Jason's in that
that was
picture
from the
too.
first one. So we had enough members in 2000, after 2 years of the club, we had enough members to pull off Fossil Fest. Thanks to Mackenzie. This was the crew that excavated the whale. So, is that you? Tim's there. Andrew's the one that started the group. Let's see. There's Larry. Okay, there's a few people here from that one. That was 2007 also, I think, or 2008. This was our other fun claim to fame. Oregon Field Guide joined us out on one of our Mitchell digs. We started off actually down at Delimit Lake, and we have an episode on hunting for dinosaurs in Oregon. It was a really fun experience. There's a couple of guys that had found the plesiosaur that we helped to excavate it. Mike Kelly and Greg Kovalchuk. So they were there with us, and I know that guy. So that was like 2007 also. These are early ones. So there was a lot of trips exploring and trying to collect things. Next one. This is another trip that we made to Northern California. That was when we picked up Greg and he started really planning some fun trips. Crab camp. And we would stay, everybody would just camp at Bill's place on the Nehalem, and we'd go to all these different places. Next. And that was Nevada. No, McDermott. It was on the border of Nevada. Locality X. Yep. So a mystery one that's never been identified. Miocene, I think. And it's right in the middle of Trout Creek. Yeah. Right in the middle of the I can't remember what it's called. Rock Creek, Bathabembic site from Crab Camp trip. Next. And then more recently, the dinosaur dig. I just threw that one in. I thought Greg would be. And so there's just been a lot of trips and a lot of fun hunting and this and that and research, and yeah, that's the early stages of it.
All right, so I wanted any excuse that I could get to get Bruce to talk. So one of the things that we've done it with the club, we've done all these fun discoveries, but we also are very good with preparation. Not we, but some people. And we have a good group of crab people, especially who have been prepping crabs out of concretions, and they're finding their ways to the Smithsonian. So Bruce has been one of the leaders in doing those things and making them so beautiful. So I wanted you to come up. Would you come up here and talk about the pictures that you brought? That's okay. You come on up. You look like a bird sometimes. You're the big bird. So Bruce has got some pictures and slides too, and you just tell Aaron and he'll move through them for you. And you can put the pictures up if you want to. I'll put my phone back up so you can put them under the camera if you'd like. There you go.
In 2012, I was looking for crabs up in Washington in an area of Fossil Creek that I had permission to go on. And I found, let's see, I think I gave Tara like 8 pictures or something. So I don't know if they're in this sequence. Anyway, I did find some crab pictures, and then there was a place where I found 3 concretions together that I broke, and they had hollow bones in them. And I remembered Peg telling me if you have anything with hollow bones, it's a bird and it's very important to get a hold of Jim Goddard. So I set those aside and then I decided, what am I going to carry out? Because it was quite a hike in. So I left the crabs and took the birds out, then went back the next day and got the crabs. But there's a picture. Yeah, that's from the book here. There's a chapter on the birds of the Northwest. They're like flightless penguin-like birds that are like about 4 feet tall, some of them. That Liz Nesbitt wrote. And if you go to the next picture, on the left there, I saw a slide kind of halfway up the hillside, and it's kind of that round gray area. That's where I hiked up to. And then there were those, you see where I have the hammer, and there was 3 concretions there that I broke open that had the hollow bones in. And it was quite a trek getting out of there. I slid and fell down part of that slope. I was by myself, which is probably wasn't the best thing to do. And thought I pulled out my shoulder when I got back and went to the doctor. And that's when I found out that I had breast cancer instead of a torn
Ah.
shoulder, which is a really weird thing. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. And then go to the next slide. Those are what the concretions looked like. And you can see the one that's broken on the left side contain most of the bones that are in this grouping here. And there's another picture where I took them up to Jim Goddard. And if you go to the next picture, let's see what that is. Okay, that's the hollow bone on the left. That was exposed. And that indicates, it was a bird, but it's pretty robust. It's like a penguin. They're birds that are not flying that much, or they couldn't fly, and they developed and got pretty hefty bone mass. The big concretion on the right is got 3 of the bones in it, and that's got it's in both femora and both tibia, I guess, or something. It's in this journal thing that was written up on it. If you go to the next page, that's the big concretion that was shown in the other picture. And that's these groupings of bones that I laid out here. These are casts that they sent me. Jim wanted it to go to Germany to the Gerald Mayer, who's one of the foremost experts on birds in the world. And he prepped it over there. It took a whole year to prep, and it's kind of an interesting process. It was written up in the paper. And if you want to read more about it, if you get the newsletters, if you join NARG, you still get the newsletters from the past. It's all in a 2016 newsletter with the pictures and the details of how that was prepped, what they used for coating, and how it was done. It was a 4% solution of formic acid buffered with tricalcium phosphate. Each day it was removed and dried, and any exposed bone was coated with paraloid. And then it was later the protective coating on the bones was dissolved in acid. And it took about 1 millimeter a week of matrix. So it took almost a year to dissolve all of it out. It's a very patient thing. I started to prep it with scribes, but then I could see that it was too much. I'd ruin the muscle connection points and stuff like that. So I quit. And Jim, that's when I took it to Jim, which is probably in the next picture. Yeah, that is this part right here. That's got the hollow tip on the end of it on the left. And he's comparing it to a cast that he had from someone in Japan. I think that he found that he sent over there that matched some of the Pacific Rim birds that they have. And then it went, Gerald Mayer wrote it up, and it was put in the Journal of Vertebrate Paleontology, and like 4 years later, and an article where he had like, I think 4 different bird specimens all identified and compared. This one is a new genus and new species. Anyway, I think that's the last slide, isn't it? Yeah, there's a picture of the bones. I'm probably in the way of, you can see them and they're explained in detail in this journal article. And that's pretty much the summary. If anyone has any questions, you can ask me later or look on some of this stuff. Okay. My 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. So Bruce is really shy, but he's so helpful and so generous. And did you want to say anything about Greg's 300
Yeah,
crab?
they were received by the Smithsonian. I think I sent the email out
We'll just
on the
say it.
paleo list
Okay.
from the
Yeah.
Smithsonian.
And then you've got some too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got lots of our crabs are at the Smithsonian, which I think is pretty awesome. So our mission statement, could you go back to the mission statement? Yeah. So our mission statement is to encourage responsible stewardship of the Earth's paleontological resources, to promote scientific research, to promote scientific communication, and to promote public education. So what we want to do is brainstorm about how we can do that for the next 20 years. I think that because that we have shown just in the last 15 minutes, we've shown that we are really serious about paleontological research. We've been in lots of publications. The newsletter is full of different publications that we've been mentioned in, that we're authors on. So we are doing that. We are doing some really, really good things. So what I want to do, could you go back one more? Is we are all going to share, and this is for people that are online as well. We're all going to go to slido.com here, meeting 3709971, or you can use a QR code and I'll hand out a piece of paper. So you're going to use your phone and you're going to go to this website and we're going to answer the first question. Mom, would you help me? So I have a piece of paper that's got this QR code. So we're all going to go to the QR. Yeah, there's 6 pieces of paper, 6 tables. So we're all going to go and we're going to write about, go into the code there. 3709971. So when you go there with your phone, you're going to write 1 or 2 words that you like most about NARG. So think about what you like about NARG and what is your favorite thing. So I would put, if I was down there, I would put the people. I love the people. You guys have all been very generous. With your knowledge, with locations. I've really enjoyed getting to know a lot of you Rocky nerds. So we are going to go and build a word map.
Get that part of it, because your slides are all part of that part of it. So this is kind of a fun thing, just to try to encourage participation with anybody who's hesitant. This is like what's called a word garden in a way, and we do it from middle school to college. Teachers start using this, and it's a great way to get people to see things from different eyes. When she shows what you guys are putting in, the bigger words, because people have said this, more than one person said the same word. So words that are commonly put in get bigger. And so it won't repeat unless it's spelled wrong.
So you can see what we like about it. So a lot of people have put community because that word is showing up more often. It's a bigger word, so we're seeing a lot more of community. A welcoming environment, field trips. So there's more than one field trip. Professionalism, the people, knowledge, the theories, effervescent curiosity. That's only going to show up once because nobody else is going to put those words together. Cool fossils, the people, knowledge resource, encouraging educational speakers, serious paleontology. More things are coming up. Encouraging curiosity, experiences. So you guys are all filling in these new words, which is really great. And it's people that are online and people that are here that are doing these things. So this is what you're looking up at here is the good stuff about our club, according to the people that are here. So I really appreciate, there's 22 votes up there. So it says up there. And there's one person typing. So that is wonderful. So I want to start off on a really positive note that we are here to really enjoy our club, but also to talk about what's going to happen in the next 20 years. So we want to come up with some good ideas, and every idea is a good one. So I'm going to be passing out some papers, and oh, there's some stuff up here, new friends. So these things are great. So what we're going to do is I'm going to stop this share. And we're going to go back to our slides, maybe.
It's on Google. You have to.
Is it this thing?
Sure,
Oh,
the same one, you just have to switch.
okay. I'm going to let you do it.
All right. I think.
You come back with my Zoomy. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk about new things. So first thing we have to do is everybody has to have a name tag. So I saw Elena and Lori, you guys came in a little bit late. Mom, can you give them blue pieces of paper at the end of the table there? And they can write their names. Then what we want to do is you are fine if you are at a table with no family members. If you have a family member at your table, you want to move. So we are broken up. So that means Scott and Andre, I want you split up in different tables. Lucy and Holly, different tables, please. Elena and Lori, different tables. So we're going to get up and move around a little bit just so we cannot be together because we want new, fresh ideas. And we are going to, I think Dave was the one who helped me on this and told me how to do what we're going to do. So we are going to look at our mission statement. And so this is for the people that are at home as well. I've got the mission statement printed out, Mom. My mom is going to come up and hand these around to every table. So we have our mission statement, one to every table. And for you guys online, you want to make sure that you look at this clearly as well. When we break into our groups, we are going to introduce ourselves and we are going to say where we're from and we're going to say what our favorite experience with NARG has been. And then the table is going to pick one of these mission statements, probably 2 through 4, to focus on for the next 20 minutes. Okay? So we're going to be discussing things for about 20 to 30 minutes, and you as a table group will decide which of those mission statements you would like to come up with ideas on how to improve for the next 20 years. Okay? So we are going to go ahead and I'm going to go to the next slide, and it's going to give us our instructions. So we're going to be doing brainstorming. We're going to work in small groups. And everybody's going to see everybody else's ideas with no judgment. So everybody's going to write down their own ideas on a piece of paper. So you're not going to share those ideas with anybody else until you're ready. So we're going to think about things independently and come up with our own ideas. And everybody's ideas are awesome, right? And they could be totally out of the box. They could be very simple, but everybody's going to work on their own ideas according to one of those mission statements. Do you want to talk as a table? Do you want to come up with ideas about public education? Do you want to come up with communication? Or do you want to come up with more of the research, the scientific research? So as a table group, you will decide that. You'll think for about 5 minutes about what you would like to come up with ideas for. And then you're going to pick a person at your table that is the recorder. So that person is actually going to be interacting with the computer. So that once you want to pick the youngest person at the table who knows how to text, probably. Okay, so that we're going to pick our discussion topic, and then we're going to sit quietly for about 5 minutes. And I've got paper. Mom's going to hand out paper, 1 sheet per person. Okay, and we have pens too. So you need a pen as well. So if you're online and home, you want to get out a piece of paper and a pen, or just a blank sheet of paper. And I've got this written down too as well, Scott, so you don't have to try and memorize your instructions. Okay, so we're going to write down several ideas about what could our club do to meet the mission statement a little bit better. So you're going to write these things down, your ideas, on a piece of paper, and come up with 2 to 5 ideas if you can, if you're able to. Then after about 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to say share, and we're going to have the recorder write down your favorite from your list, your 1 or 2 favorites. The recorder is going to write down all of those ideas on his or her piece of paper. Okay, so we're going to come up with, all of us are going to come up with ideas at your table group. That recorder is going to write down your table group's ideas. Then share them, and then you're going to discuss all these ideas real briefly and say, oh, that's a really good, oh, that one, oh, that's going to be really hard to do. That one's crazy. We shouldn't do that. And then everybody's going to go back to your piece of paper, and you're going to rank all of your table ideas from 1 to 10 or whatever, as from good ideas, good, doable, what do you think is the best one, to the least good. Remember, every idea is good. So we're going to have, what do you think individually is the best idea from your table group? And then list them as you go. Then you're going to share your rankings as a table and come up with your final rank of ideas. And then the recorder is going to share 1 or 2 of those ideas online. Okay, so I have all these instructions written down. My mother is also going to pass those out for you. So my mom's here all the way from Illinois just to be Vanna White to me, Pat Sajak. Okay. So when we're finished, we're going to go to Slido, that first website, and we're going to write all of our ideas down in rankings and see what kind of ideas we can come up with for each, whatever mission statement we've got. So mom is handing out the instructions for the table so that we don't get too confused. Remember, the first thing you're going to do is introduce yourselves. And I hope that you have some strangers at the table so that you're meeting someone new. And then we're going to pick a mission statement that we want to focus on as your table. And then you're going to come up with some ideas on how can we improve, how can we be better. Okay, so the timer is going to be on for this. So right now, introduce and pick a mission statement. I'll walk you through. If you're online, I'm going to put you in a breakout room. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and say hello. Hello, everybody. Now you're going to want to, if you're online, then you are going to want to put your camera on, please. And you are going to discuss by going into a breakout room. So I've got a chat. You did not get the QR code. So I'll get that QR code back up for you just real quick, because you will need the QR code for later. So let me get that real quick for you. Okay, so everybody, trying to, here's your the QR code, or you could go to slido.com and there's the meeting number. Okay. So I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. And then I'm going to send you to breakout room. So you will get an invitation to join a breakout room, and all of you will go to that space. So I will get that going, and then you will all interact. So make sure that you put your cameras on if you have one. So Mackenzie, you're going to get to see your mommy, and she's going to get to see you, and you get to talk. So let me see about doing this. I haven't done this for a while. And I'm dealing with, how do I do breakout rooms? Let me see if I stop share and then do breakout rooms.